Testing, testing. Alright, cool. It is Kehortian time. Come on, whatever. Very distant lands. But Jake the dog and Finn the human. The fun will never end. Adventure time. Okay. So I gotta grab the Kehortian language chart real quick. This stream, this stream is gonna be very, very, very saved. It's gonna be saved. There you are. All right. So, Kehortian Historums while redrawing Hikoma. And we really do gotta redraw Hikoma. So. Huh. Okay. I just need to pull up the map real quick. So. Yeah, that needs a lot of rework. So I'm gonna do a rough sketch real quick. Just so we can get it all easily done. There you are. So we're gonna do Zrinva. Yeah, it's just called Zrinva now. So Zrinva is gonna be, it's a northern island. And you have to keep in mind that Zrinva is very, very, very large. So this damn. Yeah, that's what happens. I gotta keep it on scale. So we just want it to be about that big. We don't want it. This can all be redrawn later. That is actually the plan. Again, it's way too large. You know, actually, I'm gonna make it a... How the hell do I double this? $19.20 times 2 is $38.40. I could just do the rest myself. Alright, so this is going to be a larger body, so we can be a little bit more meticulous. So it branches off. Alright, so that's Zrinva Island. I'm gonna add a little bit more texture to the back. Of course you fucking drew it on the background. Fucking hell. I hate Krita so much sometimes, I swear. I have to redraw the whole thing. the whole of Zrinva Island just because Krita was like, oh, I'm going to paint on the background layer because I'm dumb. So those are basically fjords. Very, very large fjords, mind you. Alright, so that's Zrinva Island. Yeah, that looks accurate. So Zrinva Island is... it's about half the size of Earth. So it's a big island, and below it are the... so this is up here. There's different sections of Hikoma. So this right here is just northern Hikoma. It's just called northern, but it's really just the main part. This is southern and this is eastern. And the reason why it's divided like this is because Jopvi Continenti is here. Or, sorry, Jopvi. Jopvi is just here. And Jopvi is huge. It is ginormous. And Skate takes up the south. And north is... and the northern part, which is called the north, is a majority... it's majority composed islands. Majority composed by islands. So right here, right off here, you lead into the Poppy Cays. And the Poppy Cays are... just a collection of islands. Well, on the map, they're called the Boshkavi Islands, but I'm going to call them the Poppy Cays. Actually, we could just call this main one Boshkavi. So that's Boshkavi, I'll assume. And intermittent is the island that looks resemblant to a cock. Like a penis. I don't remember draw it, so it's not a penis. So right here you have Zrinva. And then this entire section is the Poppy Cays. And then if you lead off of here, a bit off, should be about there, this is Vorsitia, which is as large as Earth. Well, it's really just called Vorshka. And then skate is down here. Skate is big, and it's in the drawing. It looks absolutely awful. So we can fix that. Alright, so that's skate, and it shouldn't be so southerly. Gimme. Right there. That's perfect. So skate has a lake in it. But I'm going to divide it into lakes. Friendly reminder, since Rosiccia is about the size of Earth, this would be about the size of China. These islands are ginormous. Remember, Hikoma is huge. It's a huge world. There's a lot of shit on Hikoma. And I don't think this lake is realistic enough. It should have a crack leading up into it. So we'll have... Yep, that looks a lot more realistic. So this is skate, and then you have the Papa Caves, Rosiccia, all that. I'm going to have Skate Island right here, which is, remember, sort of huge. And then off to the right, you have Jopvi Continenti, and Jopvi, or just Jopvi. And Jopvi has a peninsula that comes rather close to Skate, but not that close. Looks sort of weird, but not that weird. That's too circly. Right. So that's sort of a straight. All right. What else? So we also have the Job v Isles. I'm not including the Great Break. Not at all. Nah. You can go screw yourself. So Job V didn't used to have a lake before, but I'm gonna give it a goddamn huge one. Again, we're reworking this because, or I am, because the old version of Job V looked fucking ugly as hell and it was just generally awful. So we have to make space for Malia Maisha. But Malia Maisha is historically right here. I could probably break off a little chunk of Job V right there. Alright. So now we have everything. This is the historically accurate version of Joe Biden. So we'll save this as Hikoma map new. Alright. Now, for divvying up regions, we have to, this is important. So we'll make the sea a normal blue color, because it's a normal blue color. A little bit brighter. Yep, that's good. So, hold on. What did I do for my... Give me a moment. Okay, so it's not there, and these are not Krita files. I don't know why you're giving me not Krita files when I asked for Krita files. Alright, so this is a map I made a long time ago, relatively speaking. Yeah, it was earlier this year. It's long, but not that long. So let's just copy this ocean color. Okay, where are you? That's good. Alright. Alright, that's all I need from you. Thank you. Okay, so we need to divvy up the regions, and we're going to do it by color. So this, I'm going to copy you. This is going to be base layer. This is just all of the shit. And then right here, we're going to have regional layer. Because it's always nice to divide all of your maps into layers. So we'll put it under the base layer. So the regional layer, we're going to color everything nicely. And it's going to be vibrant. But we're going to turn down the opacity to make it easier on our eyes. So we're going to divide all of the regions. Look at that. Look how easy that is on the eyes. Job V was brown. But it's also big. Like, it's big, so it's going to have different, like, individual regions. Like, hold on. So even skate can be divided. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a dividing line in skate. It's going to be based off of the rightmost tip up to this. Yeah. We're going to have eastern and western skate. You know, you can just... Cool. Very neato. So I'm going to differentiate them based on color. I want you to literally be black. Alright. So for here, there's going to be a lot of different regions. Down here, we're going to make this red. This is the Jopfi Isles, after all. This is going to be... Yeah, Jopfi Isles is this. This is Jopfi. And it's going to be divided a lot. So right here, we're going to have Malio Maisha, and it's going to be huge. And it's obviously going to be named after the Malio-Maitian Empire of long ago. It's going to be Northern Jopvi. This is going to be... Hold on. Eastern Jopvi. Okay, so now we have it divvied up. This is going to be orange, darker orange, lighter orange, and then we want just do cyan for that bit. And then give me no, not that color. Yeah, purple's fine. No, purple should be Malio-Maisha. No, that's not different enough. Not different enough. Could have a lime green. It's too similar to Rosacea. Yeah, that's sort of its own color. Alright. Now we have to name the regions, so we want labels. These labels are going to be important. So right here, regional layer labels. So right here, we're going to have Western, oh, that looks like an H. Western skate. What is going on with my mouse? Alright, and then divvy it up here. Eastern. Skate. Coolaruni. Alright, and then Zrenva. Papakays. Vorska. Maliamaisha. Middle Jopfi. Hello, Katagi. Northern. Is it too much of an end? There we go. Northern Jopfi. God, so much Jopfi. Jopfi. Isle. And then what the Eastern? Eastern. This is it's sort of similar to that of Asia here. Jopfi is. I like to consider this to be Europe, this to be like Africa or this sort. I don't know. I really don't know. Eastern Jopfi, and then we have Jopfi Archipelago. Okay. That's all of it labeled. So the Kehortians first came from Zrenva around there, and they took it over. They were like, shit. That's not actually what happened. So the seeding program made by the proto-hominids, they found Hikoma, and they were like, this is an optimal spot. So they edited the base proto-hominid genome to make Kehortians, which were edited to be able to live on Hikoma with its high gravity. And they were put here. The proto-hominid reseeding program, obviously, was trying to prefer locations like planets and stuff where it could be found that, you know, maybe it would make sense that those species came from there, so it wouldn't cause too much confusion and drive them forward. Like with the humanity in my lore, they were related to monkeys. There was a conclusion drawn to monkeys. Anyways, with the Kehortians, and I would, you know, I might also work in that it was planted over a long time. Well, there they go. Anyways, it was planted over a long time. But either way, the lore right now is that it was seeded in Zrenva Island. So Zrenva is where the basic Kehortian civilizations came from. And Kehortian civilization was long-lived. It was as long as humanities, but it's divided. So in BCE, it's going to be BCE right now. Going to be using that. 14,000 BCE, that's when Kehortians first popped up, around that time. And that's the prehistory age. So during the prehistory age, they first inhabited Zrinva Island and all that. Well, they actually showed up during 15,000, but anyways, this is Stone Age stuff. They slowly expand over Zrinva, probably taking about that much space over that amount of time. And then during the agricultural age, it boomed, right? And Zrinva was entirely colonized. The entirety of Zrinva Island was colonized. And then that led into, so like it was divided. So you had Nordalisk up here, and then you had Goka and Urana and Higaka all the way down here. So the thing is, the first language that showed up was Amdrana. So, and it was written like this. Okay, that's a little bit too long. So this is Amdrana, and this was the first language, and it was the first language, and it was one of the main languages. So it didn't evolve for a very, very long time. It stayed the same. Everyone spoke Amdrana. Every single person in Zrinva spoke Amdrana. They just had different dialects, sort of like how Americans have different dialects than the British, except a little bit more extreme. So there was Nordalisk Amdrana, Gokan Amdrana, Urana Amdrana, and Hikakan Amdrana. So obviously there was a major it split up much more and more over time and developed into different sects of Amdrana, but they all used the same script. They all used Amdrana. And that's because Kehortian society and human society developed differently. With Kehortian society, they didn't split up as much. They sort of centralized and then drew out. So they had a sort of major system of speaking to one another before they went into the agricultural age. And that's what stuck. With humanity, they went everywhere, and then they developed agriculture, and then that's why there's so many different dialects. But the thing is, there's still dialects on Zrinva Island, because you have to remember, this is half as big as Earth, and that means this is a long way. This is a long island, or a long continent. Really, it's just big. This is long, so there's a lot of space to talk to one another. But there was caravans and all that. They all used the same script. They had minor differentiations, like with P, how you draw P, the letter P. Some would do that, and some would draw that. Not literally an A, it was just that. But anyways, that's the first language that showed up. And then in the expandatory age, they figured out, oh shit, there's other places you can go to, which started with the Papacays and then went into Vorska. So the Papacays, they used... Hold on, I have to check real quick. So the Papacays still used Amdrana. But around this time, a new script called Kuldrana was being developed. And it was mostly used by the southern half. Mostly the Papacays and the southern half. So then this gave rise to Kuldrana, and it's written very similar to Amdrana. But Kuldrana is separated and more linear. Hold on. Yeah, so it's different. There's similarities. So Kuldrana is written like this. So it's like Latin. It's the Kehortian version of Latin, essentially. So you can see it kept some elements from Amdrana, but not all of them. So that's Kuldrana. So this is Amdrana, this is Kuldrana. You can tell there's some similarities. Well, if you actually read it, if you know how to write it, there you can tell there's similarities. The difference is this inherits into that. You can tell because A looks like this in Amdrana, and they just did that. So they halved it. It's easier to write in Kuldrana, somewhat. Amdrana is more beautiful. And Vorska is a modified descendant. So over the expanded territory age, Vorska was... So Vorska was colonized by Goka, and Goka had a different dialect, and that Gokan Amdrana became Old Vorsish. And Old Vorsish doesn't really have a script yet, but Vorsishian does. And I'd have to skim through a shitload of stuff just to find it, but I know it's in here somewhere. Alright, let me look to the old notebook for a moment. That's Amdranan. Hey, fuck. That was Vorsishian. How do I save my place? There we go. Yeah, I have it all written down. I have all of this written down. So Vorsishian looks like this. Let me write it real quick. And it's sort of ugly. So this... Bore... No, shrink normally. For Sish. So that's Vorsishian. And it's written weirdly. Vorsishian is written very weirdly. Also, you can see what looks like numbers in it. Again, it needs reworking. But anyways, it's not actually written. That's not actually supposed to look like a 5. But it's close enough. So this is Vorsician. And Vorsician is a descendant of Amdranan. And the descendant part, Vorsician separated. So Vorska separated. Same with these. And that's what developed these dialects. So Kuldrana separated and it became more like this. And Vorsician separated, it became more like this. So what it draws, and it's very modified. It's a modified descendant. And what it draws inspiration from is the connectivity of Amdrana. So Amdrana has it has separated words, separated words, but connected letters. Same with Vorsician. Kuldrana has separated letters and separated words, just larger space, right? So this is similar to Latin. This is connected script. This is connected script. So you would think that from Vorska, these islands, the Jopfi continent, would be inspired by Vorsician. But no. No, it has its own individual languages that were also inspired by Amdrana. And you might be like, what the hell? Where does that come from? Because obviously it should be Vorsician, but you have to remember, this is big. It's easier to fly ships over here than it is to go through here and then that way. Or here and then there. So when Vorska was fully colonized, that's when the colonization, the expandatory age, ended. And it was all cut off. All these people completely forgot about each other. Somewhat. These guys remember each other, but they're sort of cut off. But these totally cut off. They completely forget about each other. That's what happens. So these guys are Amdrana descendants. And it's actually Kuldrana that they're descended from mostly. So Kuldrana makes its way over here. So Kuldrana had a major influence over colonization. Amdrana mostly had influence over Vorska. Kuldrana went everywhere else. So Kuldrana inspired the southern Hikoman language family and the eastern Hikoman language family. Khanalot developed sort of on its own over the depression that happened after the expandatory age, and that's so Khanalot is its own language that made Extric and then Lake speak. So Khanalot originated from the lake, then it became Extric, and then Lake speak. And Lake speak is dead. It's a dead language. Most people speak Extric, if they're even going to speak it. So the East Hikoman language family, from Kuldrana, it got Velanese, and then it developed Ojonic on its own, sort of like Khanalot came from its own. Similar to Kuldrana. But similar enough that it's kind of its own now new language family. So Ojonic, Khanalot. So Ojonic and Velanese became Vejonic, which then became Malumaetian. Now, what you have to remember is it's not a new version of the language. Malumaetian developed on its own and became a new language that the Malumaetians spoke. But everyone else still spoke Vejonic or Ojonic or Velanese or Kulvan. Or Kuldrana, I mean. So this all rose. So Malumaetia, the Malumaetians, and so the Extric. So Extric speakers eventually settled Kehortian. Extric speakers and Sermanese speakers which were from Eastern Skate. No, everyone spoke Sermonese. Extric was spoken mostly by the Eastern. So, hold on. So Sermonese and Extric made Old Kehorta, which became the language of Kehortan. And then it became Kehortonic when it was inspired by Malayo-Maitian. So what happened was there's important things to know. So there were two rises of the Kehortan Empire. The first one was 2,000 years ago. The second one was 1,000 or so years ago. So 2,000 years ago, the Kehortans weren't really influenced by Malayo-Maitians. Malayo-Maitians were sort of separated. But Malayo-Maitians and Kehortans, because Kehortans sort of like owned a large stretch of this middle part of Eastern Skate, they sort of became trade partners and then partners. And over a period of 500, 700 years, they grew a language together. Malayo-Maitian stayed Malayo-Maitian, but Kehortonic was inspired by Malayo-Maitian and became Kehortonic. Malayo-Maitian was not inspired by Kehortan or Old Kehorta, but Old Kehorta was inspired by Malayo-Maitian to make Kehortonic, and then that became Kehorta, and then that became modern Kehortian. But modern Kehortian only has a new alphabet. So from Kuldrana, you have to remember, the Papacays spoke Kuldrana, exclusively Kuldrana. And Western Skate also spoke Kuldrana. And Sermonese. Kuldranan became Colvin and Icknor. Icknor was sort of like a regional dialect that died out. Colvin stayed, and then from the Papacays in space, Kleisk was colonized by Colvin speakers who also spoke Kehortian because they had to, but they spoke Colvin as well. And Colvin is the closest thing in modern day you will get to Amdrana. And Amdrana, you have to remember, Kehortians didn't really have like the burning of the Library of Alexandria. That didn't really happen. So they have all of the original Amdranan scripts. All of them. So you can still speak Amdrana, but people don't usually speak it. They usually write it, because it's nice to write, but it's not nice to speak. It sounds funny. But Colvin is a closer, more recent relative of Amdrana. And Colvin, like Vorsician, is its own language. So the thing is, you can't say that Kehortians are not separated, they're not diverse, because they are. They're still diverse. There are bilingual Kehortians that speak bilingual Kehortian languages. So people still speak these dialects. And in fact, so let's look at the Kehortian Empire as an example. If I can get, let me get the map real quick. The recent map. There you are. So, yeah, discard autosave. Please, thanks. So the Kehortian Empire, right? You have Kleisk and Fane down here, and then you have Lachin here, and then you have the northern states and all that. So these are all divided. Lachin people all speak. They're all usually monolingual. They all, this like whole section here, only speak Kehortian. Down here you get Colvin speakers. Well, no, you get here. You get Kehortian and Vorsician, and Vorsician sort of fled here as well. But everyone speaks Kehortian in the Kehortian Empire. Colvin is here. Kehortian is here. You also get a little bit sort of mixed Colvin Kehortian, Colvin Vorsician, Colvin Vorsician here. So northerly just Kehortian, and this is the diverse dialect area. And Vorsician needs a rework. I'm going to label this Old Vorsician because it's similar enough to Amdranan, but it is so ugly looking. Look how beautiful Amdrana is and Colvin is compared to Vorsician. Or not Colvin. Coldrana. Anyways, I'm going to end this stream. Goodbye, my best friends.